Hey, Stay. How's it going?
Hi, Adam. Going pretty well. Had lots of stuff happening lately.
Yeah, about that. What's been going on in your world the last couple weeks?
Well, I am happy to announce that as of 12 days ago, I'm a proud father of a
Hey,
12-day-old son. Yeah, thanks.
hey, happy,
So,
happy Father's Day.
oh yeah, right. Thank you. Yeah, first time I celebrate. Well, it feels really good. Uh, it's really, really interesting. And yeah, I'm really glad that I'm here, 12 days in. Uh, my wife is in the other room with my son Jonah, and he's pretty well behaved so far. So I consider myself pretty lucky. He's one of those kids that sleeps and cries when he really wants to eat, and he wants to eat a lot. But other than that, he's like really, really good.
Aw. Yeah, I
Yeah.
always hear about the first couple of weeks or months being some of the hardest time for sleep. Have you been able to like get okay sleep, or has that been a struggle?
Well, I mean, I don't want to like jinx it, but I think so far it's been pretty good. I had a few nights with a full 8 hour sleep, which I heard doesn't happen. So yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I'm still a bit tired, and I have like some sleep to catch up on from the whole thing, the hospital days, and yeah, getting everything ready. But other than that, yeah, I think I'm pretty lucky. I mean, I'm a heavy sleeper usually, and when I don't get enough sleep, you know, uh, I can feel it. But yeah, so far so good.
Uh, well,
Yeah,
that's very good news.
yeah. It's pretty good. I was prepping for the moment a lot, so maybe that helped because both me and my wife are like hyper organizers. So we had like everything laid out. So it helps, that even at night when you have to do the feeds, you have to do the changes, you have to do everything, everything is where it's supposed to be, and we just like grab stuff, we change the nappies, we take the bottle, yeah. So it all works pretty well so far. So yeah, I'm pretty glad, pretty chuffed, and yeah, it's an experience. I mean, I still am waking up to it, so that's pretty good. Yeah. How about you? You got a new haircut?
Yeah. Uh,
Nice.
but other than that, my wife's been traveling for a week in Mexico and got back last week. So I was solo here for a little while, and yeah, just starting to enjoy the summer, go on a couple hikes, that kind of thing. But
Okay, so you already
really,
started hiking. Did you start the hike seriously, or are you like easing into it?
I'd say like easing into it, doing some basic ones, a couple like 5 miles is about the most I've done just to
Okay.
you know, test my ACL since I tore it last year. It's kind of like the first time really trying it on a trail longer than like a quiet walk. But yeah,
Okay.
so far,
Nice.
so good.
Okay, so it's holding up.
Yeah, and yeah, yeah. When my wife was traveling, I went to a speed friending event, which was kind of neat because
Okay.
like making friends in your like 30s 40s always gets a little more tricky, especially when you're working from home and not
Well,
going into an
yeah, most
office.
doesn't happen. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So how did that
So
go?
it was neat. It was like 150 people, and you're all like sitting at tables across from each other, and every 3 minutes, um, one side like moves a seat down, and you really just have like 3 minutes to chat with someone new, and uh, yeah, really. And then like at the end of it, there was a mixer to just like chat openly with people.
Okay. Okay. So how many people did you chat to?
I think it was 3 rounds of 10 people, so 30 people total.
Whoa, okay.
So
How did
so it
that
was like an
go?
hour
Meet
and a half of
any? Okay.
met a couple people that were interesting. Tried to keep in touch, but there wasn't as much time to like get contact info unless you like sought them out afterwards. So I felt like that part probably could have been improved some. But I have a feeling most of them are just like on the like follow the organizers on Instagram, so people can probably keep in touch there.
Okay, that sounds good. That
Yeah.
sounds good. Yeah, 3 minutes is not a lot, and I'm guessing it's more just to check the vibe if you're like really like you know in
Yeah.
vibing with the other person. But that sounds interesting. I think it's a really like neat thing to happen, especially now that yeah people are working from home and usually like you don't make any friends after 30 except if you're like in certain contexts. Uh, I guess I don't know parties or like mm, parenting might be a big one. Let's see.
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
checks out.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that I have a feeling you'll make lots of parent friends.
Well, yeah, let's see. There are like lots of people who are making kids in London. I can certify that because the hospital was full of them. I thought like everybody in London was having a baby at the same time as we were. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. We witnessed some like really interesting events. People like giving birth on the hallway and those kind. I mean, it's not as intense as it sounds. It was all safe, but yeah, it happened. So. Uh, Quite
Wow.
something to yeah to process. That's it's been fun. It's been fun.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like another like way to make friends in like the the 30s 40s age is like book clubs. Like I've joined a
Mm.
couple local book clubs, and most of them have like in-person meetings because they're like local book clubs. And the downside is like when I end up reading the book and then the meeting time ends up like conflicting with something else I have, which is always the worst. It's like, oh, I wanted
Okay.
to, hang out and meet new people, but plans got in the way. But that's definitely a good one. Another good one.
Okay. So that's been going well. I know you joined some book clubs. What are like some takeaways from those? What works? What doesn't? I, I was always curious. What are the like things that make book clubs work and things that make them like sucky?
Um, yeah. Uh, my wife's in one too, and I think like between the two of us, we've talked about like some things that have made them work and haven't. And one thing that I've liked is like our book club does ranked choice voting for deciding what book to read, and that definitely helps. Like it makes it so it's not one person choosing, and it's not just a straight vote, but everyone feels like their voice is kind of reflected in what we read, which is helpful. Um, there's like one book club I haven't joined, but I've been like on the outskirts. It's like I keep waiting for them to pick a book and a time where I can make it, and then I'll join it. And it's like a fantasy only book club. So
Okay.
having those like niches where it's very specific. It's not just like let's pick any book in the world. And so like I'm in a Reddit book club, and that one's kind of like alternating between a nonfiction book one month and a fiction book the next month. So
Okay. Yeah.
that's been neat for like having some idea there. But um, yeah, and then for the actual meetings, uh, having like a person leading the conversation, I think is very important. So it's not just people coming together and just chatting. Otherwise, it doesn't have that like thread of organization, and you don't end up
Mm.
digging as deeply into the books.
Okay. So a bit of structure. That's always helpful.
Yeah, and the Reddit one, they've been sending out like a list of questions that they're going to be talking about at each meeting. so you can like think about it ahead of time, form some opinions. And like the thinker in me, like, because I'm not the best at thinking on my feet. I like to kind of pre-think things out, so I think that also helps me kind of like put some brain cycles into some of the questions beforehand.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, uh, I can see how it helps. It would help me as well if I was in that position. So yeah, that sounds. They're kind of like prompts, right? So they ask something about the book, and everybody answers the same thing or uh, the same question, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, kind of like an open question, like, what did you think this thing meant in the book, or what do you think? Why do you think this person did this? And then having a discussion about that.
Okay, that's
Good.
interesting. And speaking of Reddit, did you follow the events that happened throughout last week? Because those were something. It was like really interesting to see how
Um,
such a huge community can undergo such massive shifts, and it kind of like relates to what we do because we know there are book subreddits with millions of users that talk about books. I was actually wondering if any of them went dark for the event they scheduled a few days ago. But yeah, it's like really interesting to see how the community coalesced to try to like, put another direction into how things were going. Yeah,
yeah,
for yeah.
yeah. Do you have like the TLDR for like what happened on Reddit?
Yeah, so as far as I know, a bit of context for the people who haven't like followed it. It's basically Reddit decided to put this huge cost on their API because there was one app called Apollo that was using the Reddit API. I don't really know the details, but they were using the Reddit API. So uh, the business like part of Reddit got mad because they were basically using their product and uh, yeah, making uh, yeah. Use of it with their API. So they put a price on their API, and the community rebelled because they liked the Apollo app, and everybody was like against these kinds of measures. Plus, I know, hope I'm not mistaken, I read an interview by the CEO uh, who was really, well, basically an asshole telling people that they have to impose these rules because it's their product and nobody can skim off of it because that's business. The tone was pretty bad. So I'm guessing, the
Yeah,
smugness doesn't pay off.
yeah. I mean, it's like the idea of making the Reddit API like having to charge for access to it. I feel like that part is less controversial. Like, if someone's building an entire product on your API and you're hitting them with a lot of usage, and then your users aren't being served ads while users that use the main Reddit app are being served ads, it makes sense to have some kind of charge there. But it seems like just how they went about handling this was like falling down a tree and hitting every branch on the way down. And yeah, the comments by the CEO about it just made things worse because they were not being nice to the developer community for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't
But
pay off to like make the developer community and the community in general, who are like the users of your product, uh, enemies, I
yeah, yeah,
guess.
yeah. I think and I can like see the reasoning behind it, like considering that, let's say, Reddit, of its usage, I'm assuming a majority of it is through mobile, because
Mhm.
most people use mobile nowadays. So let's say 66% on mobile, and it seems like Apollo was being used by I mean, even if it was a third of that, that's like 20% of Reddit's entire user base was effectively using it for free without ads, which, for a top 10 website in the world, that's a lot of usage. But yeah, the fact that they said like, okay, this goes from being free to now you have to pay us $20 million a year. It's
Yeah,
like,
that
yeah,
number. I think that number might have been the problem, and the fact that they didn't like reach out to the actual people who are using it. I mean, let's say we have an API and someone uses the hardcover API because we have really good book data. And of course, we decide to put a charge on it. At that point, it would be really bad if we would just like slap a price on there and just make it like so adversarial, I guess. So the point of it, I'm guessing, was to actually like block them out so that they do what they've actually done, meaning they have to like take everything down and they have to like cease to exist, uh, which is risky. I mean, there was this risk. So I'm guessing there was some corporate strategy there. And yeah, obviously, would have been better, I guess, to sort of negotiate through the problem than this thing, which, like,
yeah,
I'm curious if the community backlash is actually going to last, but I feel like already Reddit was a place where everything was independent, where everything was uh, not controlled by corporate interests. I think after this move, it's clear that they are no longer that place, and it's another like huge platform that uh, does this,
yeah,
which also opens up an opportunity for people like and platforms like us to like usher in the new generation of platforms that stay independent, I guess.
yeah. There's a really good article by Cory Doctorow, kind of about this whole flow, called the enshittification of TikTok, and it's it's kind of this like it's an article that goes over kind of the life cycle of how social networks rise and fall, and how they rise by having users that are talking to each other, enabling conversations, uh, making it fairly easy to create content and have a good like um, content creator to content consumer ratio. Because if you're way too far to one end or the other, then you don't have a good you know you don't have a good flow of new information on the platform. And then how once you have all those eyeballs, then these companies start trying to find ways to maximize the revenue from it, and that brings the quality of the product down, and it brings the creators that are creating things through the APIs or through just new content, that starts to go down. And then it's effectively a death spiral from there, where eventually people stop using it altogether, or it just you know it reaches a new low, kind of. If you can imagine what happened to Dig in the like a decade
Oh
ago
yeah.
or 15 years
Oh
ago,
wow.
it's like
Yeah.
you know they made some changes and all of a sudden they were flying high, and then it just like went to a new low, and it kind of stayed there at that new baseline. Or like MySpace, when it like you know or Friendster, like all these platforms kind of have done that. But then all these new platforms like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, they they haven't had that same like decline. um but I think we're now seeing that on Twitter in the last 6 months, as more and more people have left. But it still hasn't reached that point of like an exodus.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me wonder like what like once people are so attached to a platform, it takes a lot to get someone off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. I guess it's like that habit. It has to be like significantly better uh, to the alternative you'ds migrate to be able to like do that without like having any costs. I mean, at the end of the day, that's it. I'm still gonna use Reddit despite all of this because it's still like a platform that is useful. Uh, but I'm guessing, that slow death will come eventually. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, that wave of early social networks that just rose and then they fell. Uh, right now, I guess maybe the corporate, let's say, level of the newer platforms learned a lot from that, and they're uh, doing other things. I mean, I really appreciate, for instance, how Facebook reinvents its app once in a while, and also it's smart how they engulf, also scary, but also smart how they engulf new products and new communities and new opportunities, which I guess every major platform does. Some bets are better, some bets are like not the best, but yeah, they've been doing it pretty well. They've been doing pretty well lately. Uh,
Yeah.
but I guess once you step over a certain, structure, I guess, where there's like this corporate layer that makes the decisions and the product team is out of touch with the product, maybe that's when it happens. I mean, for some, I guess
Yeah.
when management comes in, when you're like after a few rounds and you get that layer of management, and you're not, look at Zuckerberg, he's like into the product at all times. If he was to step back and get other people to handle the product, I think it would fall in 1 year. It would be unrecognizable. So you really have to, how should I put it, like keep the harness or whatever you use.
Yeah. 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 You can't let, yeah, you have to continue creating value for your users. It's kind
Yeah,
of the basic part. It's like you can't let creating like money value, like business value, like trump that at any time. Otherwise, you start going down a dark path.
yeah, that's true. And if you think about Reddit, I mean, how they started, I mean, Aaron Schwartz, the whole team that started Reddit, they were like really, really like rebels. They made it like because they believed in some things, and now you get the CEO saying, "Yeah, just pay us $20 million, or you're not the." I mean, that's like clearly that's the corporate level making the decisions. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I saw an interesting show on Amazon Prime. It was called The Consultant. It was with what's his name? He also played in Inglorious Bastards. I always forget his name. Whatever. It's called The Consultant. Really good, about a gaming company that is overtaken by uh, some sort of corporate devil.
Huh. Interesting. Hmm. That
Yeah.
that was one of the fun things about Mythic Quest, the show, because it's like, um, if you haven't watched it, it's by one of the co-creators of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and it's about like a gaming company,
Okay.
and it's pretty hilarious, but it also talks a lot about just like kind of the evil sides of a company trying to just make money with like loot boxes and trying to maximize revenue, and kind of the difference between that and just creative freedom and trying to do something that the fans want. But yeah, another good one for that.
Oh yeah, I added that to my list. Nice.
And speaking of Apple, did you follow the whole
Oh
Apple
God.
Vision, the
Yes.
Vision Pro?
Yes, and I'm a bit like, let's say not guilty, but I have to say I am excited and I am sold because I've been waiting for that kind of stuff. I know it's creepy and I think only Apple could pull it off at that level. Obviously, it's not going to be like, but remember the iPod. It was like amazing when it was that seems like such a far off product right now, but it worked back then. So I'm guessing, a few generations in, this is gonna work. But yeah, it was really exciting, and I was actually thinking what it means for us, because when they showed like those apps, and the fact that you can like open a browser window and it's an app in VR, I was thinking how you could do like the stuff you do on hardcover in VR with that thing over your head. Which I mean, I know, for it's hard for anyone really to imagine themselves with that thing on their head, like doing the stuff they are doing in front of the laptop. I'm guessing it's not that far off. I'm guessing, this interaction turning into a small rectangle while you're typing stuff will seem really old, really fast once this catches on.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I was excited about it. How about you?
Yeah, yeah, it's one of those things I feel like I've been waiting for a while. It's like I don't think any of us know what it's going to be, like how it's going to be used, but I think the idea of it is what's most interesting to me. It's like it's opening up a new form of interaction, like, from we had you know, computers with just a screen and a keyboard to phones where you're touching, and now it's going to be like a whole new interface device. And one of the neat things that I was reading about is like whenever there's a new interface design, one of the first things that people do is create like skeuomorphic design for it, basically design that mimics the real world in that new system. Which is why on like the iPhone you had like felt and like uh, yellow legal pads and things like that.
Remember the
So
shelves in the book app? There were actual shelves, like
yeah,
literal shelves.
so it makes me wonder, like, and even in the demo that they showed for the Apple, um, the Vision Pro, there was like a basketball game you were able to watch. It's like it's recreating things that you could see in real life in this new environment, and it made me think like, you could have a virtual representation of your library with all the books lined up, even though they're not really there. Like there's I'm just like excited about what'll be created with it, like
Hmm.
or even like combining it with some of the large language models image creation. Like you could have something where you're reading a book and it's changing the environment all around you to fit the theme of the book, like
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I think that's even with today's tech like pretty feasible. I mean, I played around with generative fill in Photoshop, and that's basically like it. And Yeah, exactly. I mean, uh, this coming in at a time where we have AI, and you can also use AI to generate like 3D stuff, which will definitely get better. So you can just like wish things into existence, will be great. I mean, I'm excited for the gaming aspect as well. I can't wait to like have
mm,
like stuff set up like small islands on my table or like little villages or that kind of stuff. I mean, that's gonna be like really exciting. Or I don't know, exactly that kind of stuff where you read the book and the environment changes, or you have like these 3D things, or even the characters. Maybe you can see the characters. Uh, you can have generative video. Why not? uh
yeah.
it's still like really early. I mean, that's why I'm always thinking, the iPod was like a thing you can put music on. I mean, compared to, and that was what, 10 years ago, but no, 15 years ago,
Tw-
kind of like
20 years ago.
20. Oh god, it was 20. Okay. Yeah, still. Like you could only put music on it, and at that time it was like a major revolution. Right now, if you think like, okay, you can put stuff on a stick. We're so like uh far like from that point that it's almost what's happening now seems like magic compared to, that point. So yeah, it's really exciting. Yeah, it's really nice that we can already see what can be done with it, and things that are related to what we're building.
Mm,
I'm assuming that after it actually goes out and at this price point, it's probably gonna be like the first batch is gonna be for people who either really want it or for people who are gonna create uh, content on it and apps for like the next iterations. I'm assuming, there'll be like cheaper models. There's also the Quest, which again, like it validated Zuckerberg's idea like massively. People are saying, "Oh, they killed the Quest." That's like, they. I mean, my take is that they actually did him a huge favor because everyone was making fun of the metaverse, and now it's actually like a thing. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know. I mean, books are this like in terms of medium. Books are these rectangles that you read. Laptops are these rectangles that you look at. Having like stuff in your world, like having it immersed, that's like what we've been trying to unlock like since forever, right?
Yeah.
So
It's going to be exciting. I am also like, I will be on the wait list to get one when it comes out, even though I have no idea how I'll actually use it.
well, I'm people are saying there's no use cases before they released. I mean, for Quest, the use case was gaming. I couldn't see
Mm,
anything else. But the fact that they put so much detail into the execution actually like opens up a lot of things. I mean, I can see myself working on it. I mean, it could work on uh, hardcover. We could like
yeah,
codes where I'd have a screen here with
that's
the code. I have like the app here. I would have like a chat here where we would like pair to uh, yeah, push some code. So it could be like really really nice. And yeah.
yeah. I'm really curious to see what the programmer experience is when in that VR state. Like if I can do like if I can work faster with it than I can with a computer and a monitor, like that would be, I that would be a game changer for productivity. So that's one thing I'm
Yeah,
definitely curious about. Same
yeah,
for
yeah.
design, I imagine. Like
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around because it's definitely gonna explode from like these rectangles that we're all like drawing and these interfaces that are fixed to something else. And I'm trying to think, what that extra dimension would
mm,
would look like, and that's because it comes at a really like interesting time with AI because some of the interfaces might not be like as fixed as we or as we build them now. So you might have interfaces that change. You have a box that offers you some kind of info. Right now, we are coding that box, we are designing that box. But what if, let's say 4 years down the line, uh, you can actually have that box and the reader can change what's shown in that box and we wouldn't like even need to build it so that it would just whip up the code based on our data, based on our like code base, based on our like everything. So this is like generative interfaces are really like interesting and it's gonna change a lot. I mean, for me it's like it's really exciting time for everyone who's like watching, I guess.
yeah, yeah. It was like I remember when the iPhone first came out and like the App Store first launched and people were creating apps for, the most basic things like, here's a flashlight app because the
Yeah,
iPhone didn't even
the
have a
thing with the beer.
flashlight. Yeah, the thing with the beer. And these are apps that made like millions of dollars just because, they were some of the first apps out there and they were exploring this new space of like uh interactive it was like the first interactive device like that you can move around and have it actually do things. So yeah, I just can't wait to see what the first things that people create that are like that are like because that'll be what happens before people create like the real useful things.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's gonna be funny before it's useful, but
Yeah,
yeah, I funny, of course, yeah, why not?
yeah,
Here for
and
that as well.
And just the fact that you can like mirror your laptop and like basically use it as a full interface device like you are your laptop from day one, like that is already worlds past what the iPhone was when it launched.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely. I
yeah.
mean, I'm waiting for the first time I see people with these things in cafes because, for instance, if I'm working from a cafe, that is like what I'm gonna do rather than like moving the clunky laptop, putting it on the table, oh, spilling coffee all over it. I'm just gonna put that thing on. It's gonna look dumb at first because nobody else will be using it, but oh, just like wait 2 years until everybody else is using it, and you will feel like weird when you're the only one who's not. It's like not having a phone right now. If like, I mean, there are some people who don't have phones, and it's seen like as a thing that's you know not usual. I guess.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this would be the same at some time has to pass, but yeah, it's Apple. They made this, so it's probably like a good bet.
Yeah. And maybe by then there will be multiple models. Like there's more of a lightweight model that's more like normal glasses rather than a
Yeah,
massive VR headset.
yeah. Well, if that, I think that's the like end goal, and Google actually like tried to make it like what 7 years before its time because that's what Google does. Uh, Another
Those
like
were so,
really,
those were so neat. Like I was kind of sad that those didn't like iterate to something useful because
yeah.
it was such a cool idea. Like
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I hate Google for this kinds of stunts, and they did it like recently with Google Domains. And do you know that
Mm,
they sold it to Squarespace? And there were like lots of angry people in my feed. They always do that. They did that with Stadia. They invested 2 billion freaking dollars into
mm.
Stadia, and yeah, they just shut it down. Was it Stadia? I think so.
Google actually like they do a good job of like shutting things off when it's like not part of their core business. Like as bad as
Yeah,
that is for the users, like it keeps them focused. Like, but it sucks for users.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it does.
uh,
Right. Yeah, well, this is like really exciting. We're also like at an exciting time with Hardcover as well, aren't we?
yeah,
Lots of stuff in
uh,
the pipeline.
yeah. Um, we're we're like the current upgrade for hardcover is kind of like I feel like it's ended up being almost like a full rewrite of the front end on how it works. So it's really touching like every page in the app, but I'm not like redesigning it to match the mockups yet. I'm more like updating the programming style to use this server side generated part, so it'll be a lot faster. Um, but it is coming along, and it is yeah, I'm excited about it, but it still has a lot of work left.
Yeah, wow,
It's ended
that's
up being one
good.
of those yeah,
Yeah.
it's ended up being one of those things where I thought it was going to be a lot faster than it was to do it. And then once I got in there, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a big project.
Well, uh, sometimes it's like that. Maybe every time, I guess. Uh, but yeah, once this is done, it's gonna be like really to I guess what's the newest standard in terms of like approach right now, and hopefully it's gonna help us ship the new layouts faster. Uh,
Yeah.
because we've got some like good designs. I've also seen that in the community there are people who are asking for neat features. There was a suggestion about the match score having different colors. There were some suggestions about the profile page, and they're coming. They're coming. They're gonna be new components, new ways we show stuff. It's pretty exciting in design. Uh, I guess we're close to coming to making a version of hardcover that's finally out of beta. Because yeah, for that big launch, we've got a few things that we're preparing. We've got the book page. We've got the what else?
The the new book button will be one of the big
The
ones.
yeah, the book button. Yes,
And
whole new revamped experience of like how you're tracking books. So that's going to be good. The search is
yeah,
uh, almost there. It's on staging,
and
so soon on live.
yeah, and the kind of the first version of the new book page, but not like not the final version, but at least like with the new header. And that yeah, I'm really liking the like how we're using the colors from the book cover on the book page. Like that's something one of those things that I've been wanting to figure out how to do for a while, and it's looking really cool. Like let me share my screen for a sec here.
Oh yeah.
Um, screen window this one. So yeah, this is
Here we go.
yeah, it's pretty much like this top part's kind of the part that's been redesigned. And
Yeah, the top part looks great, and it will be replicated in other parts of the app as well. I'm working on a new profile page, which will be the author page as well, which will take that part. Ah, here we go. That part and actually make it into a place where you could put a nice cover image. So it won't be the color. It could be a color. We'll default to a color, but for I was thinking for supporters that we could do the same thing the Letterbox does. So you would be able to customize your profile with a picture or something that's if your reviewer or uh, any type of person who creates book content, you could put something promotional there or something that you like or something that represents you to actually like make that type of profile look like it's yours. This is gonna be like aligned with what we're doing on the book page. It's gonna be pretty neat.
for uh for this, like as I've been like using this more locally and on staging, one of the things that I kept trying to think about was like how do we do more like social proof here? Like one of the things
Mm-hmm.
that I know we have in the mock-up for this page is things like, you know, friends who read this.
Mm-hmm.
So like we have this social proof and this social proof. Um and then potentially we have like prompts, so we could say like this is number X in this prompt, kind of like on IMDb when you look at a book and it says like this is number, you know, 45 of the best movies of all time, things like that.
Oh yeah, and
But the reviews, yeah.
the reviews are gonna be like really interesting because uh there was also some chat about this on Discord about author ratings and how they're handled. And for books, of course, the star rating is important, and we have half stars as well, which is more accurate. But to really like get an idea of how a book feels, a review is way more telling. So I'm guessing having those reviews and having written reviews and video reviews as well uh, will help. There are lots of people who are reviewing that book in other places on YouTube or on TikTok. So it would be nice for them to be able to link that review. And uh, further down the line, if we implement the batch system, we could show those reviews from people who a lot of like prestige in that particular like genre of the book. So if the book's main genre is fantasy, the first review would be from someone who has like a lot of uh, fantasy books read and is a really active reviewer in the community. So that would be like really, really nice to get someone who's uh, certified, I guess. Oh. Yeah, there was
Still
also
working on that.
yeah, well, that happens. There was a question on Twitter from one of our supporters, Jeff, who's asked if we have any fail safe in case someone reviews a book, but they haven't actually read the book. So it's a malicious review,
Mm,
I'm assuming. Uh, my I think our approach right now is that any kind of review can be flagged. So if there's someone like leaving lots of reviews that are fake or ill-intended, we flag them, we can ban them, we can restrict their access if we want, and we rely on the community to do that. But the prestige score might also like come in handy because those reviews from someone who isn't, you know, really doesn't have that prestige through badges would push that review down, so it would organically like not be shown first.
yeah,
What do you think
yeah, that's a
about
good
like
question.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, like we have this like similarity, like the sorting of these reviews, like the one of the sorting is by like your match percentage with that other person. So if people are just, trolling and they're doing that, and you're sorting by readers with similar interests than you, then those people that are trolling are going to be at the bottom of the review page. But their scores are still going to impact the average rating for the book. So yeah, like you said, reporting is the best way to go about that. But yeah, I wonder about other ways we can do that. Like
Well,
one of
this,
the
yeah. Go ahead.
one of the things we toyed with was like awarding badges for like if you've read like 100 like 100 fantasy books, and you have like the 100 fantasy book badge, and then you could see the average rating of this book by other people who have also earned that badge, for instance, or things like that. But yeah, I'm wondering about what other ways we can like help that out.
Yeah, well, it was mentioned on Twitter. The Sorograph, for instance, asks someone if they actually read that book, so it forces you to declare, I read this book. But my first instinct is that, okay, that might be good, but it can also, I mean, a malicious reviewer who wants to leave a bad review can just do that. So they don't have to read the book. They don't have to read any book. If we get bots, and especially now that you got AI models that are able to create uh, real looking activity, if you've got bots that come in and trash the reviews for muddy with the intent to muddy our data, our only like chance again, and any like platform's chance against those is community action, actually, like uh, having the community report and having verified users. And I think like our approach generally is to uh, have uh, readers who are verified, who go through onboarding, who leave data that's accurate, rather than like maximizing users of uh, whatever quality, I guess.
Yeah. Hmm.
Onboarding is a good filter because maybe onboarding is a step where we could actually filter those potentially malicious users so that we get them before they actually are able to leave a review. At that review level, I don't think there's much you can do except, you know, just let them leave the review and let us try to push it as further down as possible or have the community report it.
Yeah. And it there's probably some way we can like just identify accounts that are basically created just to give negative reviews. Like
Mm.
if the only books you're reading are books that are like 1 star, then maybe we don't even include your books in any of the rating charts, the rating sums, the rating averages. Like so we have a way of like indicating that a user is like shadow banned from reviews.
Oh yeah.
and and so behind the scenes, like we would mark that through probably some algorithm on our side, and then for the users, they don't know anything's wrong. They just continue using the site as usual. But yeah, the only way to access their reviews would be to go to their specific review page rather than the listing page.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. I mean, I think those reviews, getting to them will take a lot of work if most people leave genuine reviews. So if we maximize and make leaving reviews as easy as possible without like introducing any steps like verifying your review or whatever, or asking like questions which are, I don't know, certifying. You can like really certify someone has read a book, and I'm
Mm.
imagining it's like really like tough to do that. I mean, I wouldn't know how. So it's better to just like
Yeah,
make reviewing something as easy as possible, and so that people actually like leave good reviews, incentivized to leave the good reviews, and the bad reviews can
yeah.
just be suppressed by us on our end. There are like
One
multiple points. Yeah. No, go ahead.
one thing that came to mind while you were saying that for like certified reviews was once we get like a concept of discussions, one one thing we could do is have like kind of like book club questions about the book. And if
Mm-hmm.
you answer like maybe we have like 10 questions, and if you answer like 3 of them, those end up being part of the discussion about that book. And if you answer those, then your review is like certified or something.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good, yeah, see, that's a good one that doesn't like impact the way you'd leave like a simple review. Let's say you just read the book, you want to like just leave a review, leave a star rating. You should do that like no questions asked. But if you have like these questions that are tied to a book club where someone asked, okay, let's see, whatever your take is on this question, yeah, that could definitely push the review up. So it could be like the first like level of review where you have, yeah, that's a really good idea. Have the first level of review, which is a simple star rating, then the next level, which is a written review, and then the next level, which is like the questions, and then maybe another level, which is video, because if you're leaving a video review, that's probably like you're a content creator, your review matters like a lot, and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Or
So
you're
if you got
linking to
all of
a
those,
blog post. Yeah,
yeah.
it's and like our algorithm to determine who's spamming reviews would be taking all these levels into account. So the more of them you go through, the less likely it is that you have a, ambulance behind you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I busy
More
street.
likely.
This is one I've learned that this is one of the pilgrimage routes. So it's a street that's like more than 1,000 years old. It's called Old Kent Road. So yeah, it's pretty.
Interesting.
Yeah. Ah, here we go.
And yeah,
Look at
this is
these. Yeah,
a
these are looking great.
and yeah, and I'm still working on kind of what happens when this is shown. There's like a but having that like pop up like the first time the first time you interact with any button, it does that loading because it's like loading all of
Mm-hmm.
the JavaScript required to make it run. So all that JavaScript never loads until you interact with the button, and then
Nice.
it, yeah. And I think I was still in the middle of like a major refactor for how this works. So all of it's in a not working state, I don't think. But hey, that actually did work.
Ah,
Um,
see,
yeah.
sometimes it does.
And then yeah, like I just added a super basic create list. Some of these I haven't been like going back and forth with the prototypes. I've been kind of like I know this isn't like the same style as the prototype, but
Yeah,
it'll get there.
we'll have time to fix those. I mean, the
Uh,
functionality is like primary. It's great, especially for the app. Um,
yeah, very
yeah,
easy.
this is looking good.
And yeah,
And just one thought for since you mentioned discussions and having that those levels of priority, I guess, because if a review has all those layers, we push it so it has a certain priority. I was thinking about something like that for a feed algorithm because once we have discussions we'd also need to like decide what we show first, and I'm guessing those levels of priority could be something we think about, and we can maybe make the same levels work. So a discussion post like a review, if it has certain features to it, maybe it can be assigned a certain priority. uh, just as like a review, if it has all those extra things, it would have, let's say, priority one is a review that has a video and it's from someone who has like 100 views plus, and that's how we know it's a really good review. The lowest priority five or whatever is a review that's from like a new reader who isn't verified, and it's like the most suspicious review that we don't show. So we don't show with a priority. So we show this, we show items based on this priority and make that rule universal so that it assigns priority to reviews based on certain things and to discussion items based on other things, but it's the same algorithm that assigns priority, or like a tweaked one. Yeah, just trying to think of how that would work so that we don't just like show things over there, just like push things in the feed, but they actually have. It's probably gonna work way different, of course, but the idea is
yeah,
to
it'll
have that ranking. Yeah.
yeah how we incorporate discussions into the feed will that's definitely going to be a tricky problem. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
even put much thought into it yet because it's going to be a hard problem.
It's gonna be a hard problem,
And
but it's okay. I mean, we'll figure it out.
yeah, and I think at that point it'll make sense to have filters on the feed for like what type of activity you want to see. So like
Yeah.
maybe you only want to see activity by your friends. Maybe you only want to see activity by your authors. Maybe you only want to see discussions on your books, and
Nice. Yeah.
and it becomes like the gateway to all the data that's new for you on hardcover, and you decide which ones you want to see.
Yeah. That's really good. It's gonna be. That's a good
Yep.
approach. I just put it out there so that we get our clock's going because I'm guessing after we get the things we're working on right now off our plates, that's going to be the next big thing. So yeah, a bit anticipating that because that's also exciting. And with the stuff going on, I think it's a good moment to actually like deliver, ship uh, this kind of network that's an alternative to places that are getting ruined, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to be a viable alternative for book communities, in other words.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Great. Well, this
Cool.
was good. I think I have to go back to feeding time, both for my cats and my 12-year-old kid. So yeah, it's been really, really good, really productive. Yeah, my cat
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
scratching the garbage can. She does that to like let me know I have to feed her.
Well, don't work too hard on hardcover. Your priorities are for sure different right now. So
Oh yeah, don't worry about it.
d-
It's as long as it's relaxing and I enjoy it.
cool.
That's that's how I do
It
it.
can yeah, as long as you feel like it's a break and not an additional stress on your life, then
Oh
yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely. It feels like a break. It kind of feels like a break.
Cool.
Great,
Cool.
awesome. Well, nice chatting to you, Adam, and yeah, until next week.
Cool. Talk to you later. Bye,
Great.
sweet.
Have a good one. Bye bye.